Welcome back for another book review. Today we are talking about The Hearth, which is Compendium, Magical and Natural Living for Every Day by Anna Franklin. The brief description of this book is that it is a massive collection of recipes on a variety of green living options like gardening, canning, making your own bath and cleaning supplies, and a whole lot more. I will add in here that the emphasis really is on like the recipes part of this. There isn't a whole lot reading it cover to cover. Like probably 80 to even 90% of this book is just various recipes. And I use that term loosely, but I mean, it's a lot of like make the thing. So recipe is just kind of the catch-all term because it's, I don't know, I feel like it's weird saying that it's a recipe to make like your own like lotion or bath salt or whatever, or your cleaning supplies. Like it feels weird to call it a recipe, but that's what they are. And that is what most of this book is. I would rate this book a 3 out of 5, mostly because I know that I am not the person this book was written for. It is not what I am curious about. I'm not really big into green living and all of the associated topics with it. I'm not a big believer in a lot of the attitudes and like commonly pushed beliefs from that like particular community. Just never really has like called out to me much. Also, where I live, you can't like grow things on your own, and like I'm not really against my cleaning supplies. Like there's just some people are really into that, and that's great. It is really popular among witches and pagans, but it's not for everybody, and I am not that person, so I know going in that is going to heavily influence my opinion of this book. So I'm just mentioning that here. A lot of the topics that are brought up in this book in particular, it's just not something I'm ever going to try and do. I'm not really big into like canning your own stuff and brewing your own alcohol at home. Like if you are, great, I guess, but please do a lot more research outside of this book. There were a couple lines where it was like, when you walk into any like brewery shop, there's so many supplies and you just don't need it. And I'm like, maybe, but usually there's a reason that they're selling all of that stuff. And I would talk to those people to find out what you actually need, not just some random book. Because even when I was reading through this, I kept like catching myself being like, okay, I remember on TikTok a while ago, there was like a huge surge of people being like, you should can at home. And then they're doing it wrong. And people who actually can often and like make their own like jam, and you can, I think you can can like spaghetti sauces and things like that. You have to like pressurize cook it and stuff. But people are doing it wrong. And then all of that food goes to waste because it's now poisonous. It's gone bad. Like it's a very specific science that you have to do for it. And I worry that this book, because there was one review that pulled this out and was like, hey, did you know that a lot of this stuff isn't mentioned? And somebody was like, oh my God, you're being over dramatic. And it's like, I don't think so. Because like botulism, while not common, is not common for a reason. Most people aren't canning at home. Like it is a dying art. It is something that like our ancestors did not that long ago. Like my grandmother used to can all the time. My mom and me don't. Like it's a thing that some people do, but a lot of people don't. For me, it's easier and safer to buy something that has been regulated and monitored, and they have a specific system in place to make sure that it's not going to kill you, because again, botulism in particular. I'm sure there's other things, but like even for like the alcohol, because I was like, I feel like homebrew is like you're making like, it feels like you're making hooch, basically. And if you haven't watched any of the prison shows, it's that. And I think it's actually called that in the real world. There's a bunch of like really random slang words for it, but basically homebrew alcohol. And the CDC has a huge article about like botulism specifically for that. And that it's a very specific science to not kill you. And they heavily kind of discourage like home brewing in like a very casual sense because it can kill you. And it's books like this that make me concerned. Maybe it's enough information that you could start on your own. I feel like there's not nearly enough warning of like, hey, if it goes bad, it can kill you. Botulism's really, really bad, guys. Like, really bad. Anytime a book mentions that, I have an instinct of like, like, people put a lot of money, a lot of supplies, a lot of training, a lot of research into making sure they don't kill you. Just because something's happened for centuries doesn't mean it's easy and safe. Like, again, botulism in particular. So anyways, that was one of the big reasons I didn't love this book. And so if you are going to get into that, please do some extra research. Maybe attend a local class or two. Go talk to local people who do it. They can show you what you need to do, because it is not as simple as the book kind of, I felt like, presented it. And again, you can easily become poisoned, and it's very, very bad. Please just be careful. And I kind of mentioned this earlier, but the other thing that really bothered me about this book is that there is a bit of the eco-shaming. Again, not a huge fan. I like my cleaning supplies. I don't think it's the end of the world if I want to keep my house clean. If you want to clean your house with lemon essential oil, that's great. You do you. I will also use my Clorox wipes. Thank you very much. Because, I mean, granted, I grew up with a lot of medical things, so having clean spaces is important to me. That it's like, I might not be like the best house cleaner ever, but if I'm going to clean the house, I'm going to use products that will actually clean it. And there's a bigger debate going on in like bigger communities and like the cleaning communities about books like this that are like, oh my God, just get rid of all of your cleaning supplies. And it's like, but your stuff doesn't actually clean it. Like the people who tell you to make your own like laundry detergent and things like that, it doesn't get it as clean as like actual products do. And there's a lot of science involved. And it's not my kind of a lifestyle that I'm interested in. I will keep my cleaning supplies, you can make yours, but like, it's not for me. So all of that to say, obviously, I am not the intended audience. I think this book is really written for the witches who are very interested in trying to have a lot of like the green living. So would I buy this book? Absolutely not. This is not a book for me. I know it is for some people. That's great. I'm not the person. And I think I do have one other book from her from the library, because like honestly, like they're there. I might as well read it. There's so many books out on the market. And again, it could be like the Mankey situation where I didn't like a few of his books and then I ended up liking some. So it could happen. Thank you so much for listening to my book review. I will see you all soon for the next one. And I think I have a couple other non-book review things going up this week, because I think you're seeing this sometime in the middle of the week, but I have a library haul and then talking about my in-book plans. So I will be back soon for more book reviews and just other stuff. So anyways, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I post every single day. Make sure to check out my Patreon. A huge thank you to those people over there. If you want to support me and get access to a bunch of other content, it is patreon.com/nightwillowcrafts. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.